All right, shalom, shalom. I'm Arayala coming at you with another lesson straight out of the Lions Den camp of Yashala. But before I get started with this lesson, I would like to give all praises to the Heavenly Father in the name of His only begotten Son in their proper true names. And we're going to start off by saying Kal, Halayim, La, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ha, Rakah, Kodash, Ma'amath. Definitely want to give double honors to the apostles of GMS and their elders. Definitely want to give double honors to my elder, Aharwam, Bon Yashala of the Lions Den camp located right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere men, women, and children that believe in the names of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Shalom. All right, shalom to the Lions Den camp. All right, this is from ABC News. It says an 8.8 magnitude quake latest. It says volcano erupts in Russia. Tsunami waves reach California. All right, as we know, man, we are in the end times, man. You know, the Lord is beginning to visit the earth. Matter of fact, this is 2nd Esdras 9:1, and it reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world, which he made. All right, so one more verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. All right, so again, we are in the times that the Lord is coming to visit the earth, man. You know, and to bring forth, you know, the prophecies, man, meaning the signs. Right, for one, so just like we seen last year that America was marked with the solar eclipse. After that, put a big X. The Lord put a big X on this place, man. You know, X marks the spot. All right, but those are the prophecies, man. The Lord is bringing destruction, you know, to the earth, right? And the end part of it is going to be America being destroyed by nuclear warfare, man. You know, with those ICBMs, as well as the state of Israel, right? But as we continue to measure the time diligently within themselves, right, by keeping up with the current events, keeping up with prophecy, right, we, you know, we're out giving warning to the people, right, to, you know, to repent and turn back, while we, you know, before it's too late, right? So when we see certain signs like this, right, an 8.8 magnitude earthquake, right, volcanoes erupts, right, in Russia, right, and we know Russia is involved into this judgment, right, Ezekiel 38, right, tsunami waves reach California, right, it says, but that's all part of the prophecy of the Lord, man, you know, for us to be watchful and to give warning to our people, you know, we are seeing the signs, right, we're seeing it. You know, we keeping up with the times, man, because we've seen the signs of the Lord, right? He's showing us, he's speaking to us, you know, that it's about that time, you know. All right, this article says a massive magnitude 8.8 earthquake struck off Russia's Pacific coast, triggering tsunamis, warnings, and evacuations of coastal areas in Hawaii, and alerts along the United States West Coast. The intense quake, about 85 miles off the east coast of Russia's Kamchatka peninsula, was one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded, and the world's largest since 2011. Right. So when you read articles like that, man, you come across, I mean, this stuff has been all over the news anyways, all over TikTok, all over, you know, international news. It's everywhere right now. When you come across stuff like this, man, you know, that's, as it says, it's 2nd Esdras 9:1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. So that's our job, man, to keep up with the signs, keep up with the times that we're in, right? And when thou seest part of the signs pass, right, dealing with solar eclipses, you know, America got marked by the solar eclipses, right? It's been a whole bunch of other signs, right? This is Luke 21:11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilence. Right. Let me jump up one verse. Luke 21:10. So like, then said he unto them, right? This is Yahweh Shai speaking. That's his true name. Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Right. And we're seeing that. Right. Matter of fact, what's that man? Kim Jong-un just basically put out a threat towards America, really, towards Trump, and basically was saying that if Trump and America wants to come over here messing with us about our nuclear program, it's going to be some serious consequences, right? But again, it's just so much stuff going on, all these rumors of wars and all these proxies kicking off, like nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. It's still Russia, Ukraine. Russia still hasn't even talked to Trump yet about him ceasing fire. I know that's in the mix right now, and Trump basically, I think, gave him until close to the end of August, but he dropped it down, and he shortened the time up on Putin, basically saying if you don't hurry up and cease, make a deal with Ukraine or make a deal, we can it's going to be some serious trouble, man. So it's a whole bunch of kingdom versus kingdom right now going on. Right, verse 11, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, man. Right, as we were just reading in the article, it says the intense quake about 85 miles off the east coast of Russia, right, was one of the most powerful earthquakes ever recorded, man. All right. This is back at 2nd Esdras 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, right, and this is part of the signs, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, right, and that's definitely happening right now, uproars of the people in the world. Everybody it's a lot of people protesting about a bunch of stuff, man. The whole world is upset. The whole world is in fear because everybody, for one, they see that, I ain't gonna say everybody, but some people are feeling, that something major is coming, right? Within that, it's a bunch of protesting going on because of how people being treated. It's a bunch of people in major uproars right now across the whole world, dealing with religion, dealing with poverty, dealing with the economy. I mean, it's crazy, man. So this is again, measure the time diligent within itself. All right, verse 2, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right? Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Right? So this is why we continue to, reading, right? Consuming the whole roll. Because these are prophecies that's in the scriptures, man. In the Bible that we're supposed to keep up with. That way we can keep up with prophecy, right? But the only people that's going to be able to do that, man, is the elect of Israel, man. The ones that's blessed in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, blessed in the Holy Spirit. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Right? So we're towards the end of this kingdom, man. So the Lord is showing us signs and wonders, right? And he's basically showing those signs to the elect, right? To his prophets, right? To continue to go out and teach, continue to push his truth, to bring many back to the marriage, man. Before he brings this destruction. which will be for the 144 elect men of Israel, right, as well as the 1/3 men, women, and children, right, of the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and the speckled bird, right, which are also all Israelites, man. All right, but only 1/3 of them will make it through the destruction. All right, right, verse 7. It's like verse 6. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings. Right? So the signs have plain. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders, right? And powerful works and endings in effects and signs, right? So that's why it's, good to measure the time diligently within itself, so you can keep up, right, with the effects and the signs. Right, and these earthquakes are part of the effects and signs. All right, verse 7, and everyone that shall be saved, right, and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith where ye have believed. Right, so this is why we continue to do our job, to go out on the highways and byways to feed people the living waters, right, of truth. But again, just like it says, right, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape, right, escape what, right, the judgment, right, meaning you will be saved out of it, right, saved out of what, World War III, nuclear destruction, right. But before that happens, the Lord has been sending us signs, right, that he has been speaking of since the beginning. Right. But those, for the ones that's actually doing the work in sincerity and in truth, right? Dealing with people like Alazar, Mr. Gorilla Hebrew, Polite. I mean, you can go so on and so on. Yahweh being Yahweh, all of these guys are being moved out of the way because the Lord is, the Lord is here, man. He's visiting the earth, right? But salvation is not until we see them ICBMs in the sky, right? As well as before that, we see the MOTB being pushed around the world, which that's already being manifested as we speak, as well as the ICBMs, right? And nuclear war and the talk of World War III. All right, it says, verse 8, shall be preserved, right? Verse 7 again, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils, right? And shall see my salvation in my land within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning, right? So the elect has been sanctified from the beginning, right? The ones that's going to make it out of it, right? Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, I'm part of that number. Right, this has been destined. They've been destined for salvation since the beginning, man. Right, being part of the first fruits. Verse 9. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. Right, so you scarf at the men on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, right, insincerity. Right, you're gonna get caught up in the said perils. If you don't believe in the truth, believe in the name Yahweh, believe in the name Yahweh, still falling behind Christianity or being a Muslim or going to the Catholic Church or whatever, anything outside of the truth, man, it's going to get you caught up in the said perils, man. All right, wearing hats while you teach. Shows people, for one, that you're not taking this seriously, especially if you're teaching, man, being, claiming to be one of the elect, but totally disregarding the scriptures, disregarding people like Paul, right? And this is more so speaking towards people like Sakari, all right, Gorilla Hebrew, right? Things like that, man, those people are going to have to be moved out of the way, as we see that's already happened dealing with Alazar, right, and the fall of Sakar, which is now become Genesis, right? Verse 9, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, right? And that goes into abusing the Lord's ways, you know, making filthy lucre off the scriptures, you know, off of the truth, right? It says, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments, right? So all these people that you know, don't even try, you know, we know you can't follow the law perfectly, you know, nobody could except for Yahushua, right? But within that, we should be we you know, we follow the laws to the best of our ability while we in the kingdom of Esau, you know. But at the end of the day, it should be in your la'ab at all times, right? And that's what the Lord is really looking for. Just like King David spoke on, you know, he meditates on the laws daily, man. You know, it should be in your la'ab, your mind, right? Which you know, speaking of the heart, is really talking about your mind. All right, it says, then shall they be in pitiful case, man. You know, because of things, you know, and that's why the Lord is sending massive earthquakes and tsunamis and all type of stuff, man. Whew, I might screenshot that bad boy right there. It might be my thumbnail, I'm not sure. All right, it says more 8.8 earthquake. No. All right, it says U.S. impact. In the U.S., initial tsunami waves washed ashore on Hawaii's island of Oahu. All right, sending people. All right, it says sending people scrambling to evacuate. It says residents were urged to leave beaches and low lying areas for higher ground and to take shelter at least the 4th floor, right? I don't know if y'all was able to see the video as it was playing earlier. They were showing the tsunamis, stuff like that. You know, they go a little bit over here. For some reason, the sound is not really working. For Salaki for that. All right. There you go. Well, that's over there in Hawaii. All right, now they in straight up panic, man. You know, but here goes some of the waves and. You can see all the cars and stuff washing away. It ain't no joke. It ain't no joke. Come on now. All right. But it says, all right, people out there scrambling to evacuate. It said residents were urged to leave beaches and low-level areas for higher ground and to take shelter on at least the 4th floor of a building. Sirens sounded across the Hawaiian island 10 minutes after each hour for the 3 hours leading up to the expected impact as a part of a statewide warning system. All right, you see people panicking and trying to prepare for this, get themselves into safe areas. It said Hawaii Gov. Josh Green told reporters earlier Wednesday that the state had so far not seen a wave of consequence, calling it a great relief. Though he warned there could be more waves, he said high waves could knock down utility poles and scatter debris. Other parts of the Pacific U.S., coastal areas of Alaska, Oregon, Washington, and California were also placed under tsunami advisories. Tsunami waves were recorded in Montreal, California, and San Francisco overnight, but none caused significant issues. All right. Monterey. It says in California, tsunamis advisories remain in effect in Santa Barbara and San Luis, right, counties, and have been discontinued in Los Angeles and Ventura countries. It's like counties. It says, but Quote, whether an advisory is in effect or not, stay out of the water and harbors as currents will be strong, end quote. All right, especially if you can't swim. And get your butt to some high ground, right? Because them currents ain't no joking. If you don't know what you're doing, man, that thing will sweep you away and you out of there. All right, it says the nation's weather service in Los Angeles warned. It says the U.S. territories of Guam and America Samoa were also put under tsunami advisories. All tsunami warnings have since been discontinued in the U.S. Crescent City. It said, which is along the coast by California, Oregon border was the final. Oregon border was the final U.S. location to discontinue its tsunami warning on Wednesday morning. Right, officials there said waves activity peaked at about 3.5 feet, and there were no reports of any injuries. The quake also impacted travel. Hawaiian Airlines and Alaska Airlines said they would resume flights on Wednesday morning after a pause due to the tsunami warnings. All right, tsunami warnings and alert around the world. The full extent of the impact of the quake is not yet known. In Russia, a camera captured the eruption of the volcano over there. That's a long name. I ain't even finna try. Sopka volcano, the highest mountain in the region, sending hot lava down its western slopes. The quake led to a tsunami warning for all of northern Japan, forcing more than 2 million people to evacuate. Japan's and you know, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua just probably be sitting back laughing, you know, making the people panic like that. He like, yeah, man, just be ready, cause you know it's finna get a lot worse. You know, these little small signs is just something, you know, to bring it to your mind. You know, understand prophecy, understand what's, you know, about to happen, what's, you know, what the earth is about to go through. All right, it says Japan's meteorological agency warned that a tsunami about 3 feet high was expected to reach Hokkaido. Hokkaido. Is that the anime name? It says the Japan meteorologist, but anyway, agency meteorological. It says the agency later revised tsunami warning to lower level advisories, but said people should still exercise caution. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the article, though, man. You know, again, look at that, man. Man, you can't blow this picture up. Okay for that. But again, man, you know, these signs like this is a reminder of what's coming. All right, as the Lord said, you know, the days are going to be just like the days of Noah, Nineveh, Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, it's just going to be one dramatic event, man. You know, that's going to happen when the Lord shows up, man, to save his elect. All right, so for those who loathe his law and have not turned back to him in sincerity and the truth, you know, you're going to get caught up in those sad perils, man. You know, still calling on the name Jesus, still feeling like all the prophecies have already been fulfilled and feel like Yahushua already came and left. You know, you're going to end up being caught in those sad perils, especially if you teach him falsely. All right, back at 2nd Esdras 9. It reads, then shall they be in pitiful case which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain. It's like it. And therefore be thou not curious, right? But that's the point, man. You know, verse 12, the same must know it after death right? By pain, by complete pain, man. Even the Lord said in that day when he bring forth those ICBMs, bring forth the weapons of his indignation, which is going into those ICBM nuclear missiles, right? He's going to leave them, and they're going to leave that soul in that body. And the first thing that's going to burn up, man, is the soft tissues first. Right? He's going to allow them to feel that burn, man. You know, death by pain, man. You know, they'll know it after death by pain, right? Let's jump over real quick to the 8th chapter, 2nd Esdras and 8. All right, it says, let's start off at what is it? All right, 2nd Esdras 8 and 52. All right. For unto you is paradise open, right? Speaking to the elect, right? At this point, he's speaking to Esdras, but ultimately to all of the elect that's destined for salvation, right? The tree of life is planted. The time to come is prepared, right? Plenteous is made ready. A city is builded, right? And rest is allowed. Yea, and that's beautiful, man. Rest is allowed. Yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. The root of evil is sealed up from you. Weakness and the moth is hid from you, and corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. Sorrows are past, and in the end is showed the treasure of immortality, right? And this is why we go out and do the work, right? Because faith without work is dead, right? And again, the only ones that's truly going to receive salvation is the ones that's destined to be saved from the beginning, right? The elect of Israel, all right? Lord willing, I'm part of that number, Yahweh Ratazah, right? But those are the treasures of immortality, man. For us being changed in the blink of an eye, becoming immortal, right? Never sinning again, man. Verse 55, and therefore ask thou no more questions concerning the multitude of them that perish, for when they had taken liberty, they despised the Most High, thought scorn of his law, and forsook his ways. Moreover, they have trodden down his righteousness. See, they completely came against Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, man. Forsook his laws, right? Forsook his ways. They despised it, man. It says, moreover, they have trodden down his righteous, putting their hands on the saints. It says, and said in their heart that there is no God, man. Right? Yea, and that knowing they must die, they must be unalive, right? For as the things aforesaid shall receive you, so thirst and pain are prepared for them. For it was not his will that men should come to naught, but they which be created have defiled the name, see how important the name is, of him that made them, and were unthankful unto him which prepared life for them. Man. So for their ungratefulness, them want to play, that's going into the 2/3 of Israel, right? Who despise the law, who have no faith, man. Who take hold of every wind and doctrine, roughly paraphrasing, right? Denouncing the scriptures, becoming a Muslim, so on and so on. But as it says, right? For as the things aforesaid shall receive you, so thirst and pain are prepared for them. Damn. For it was not his will that men should come to naught, but they which be created have defiled the name of him that made them, and were unthankful unto him which prepared life for them. Right? Because ultimately, all of Israel will be in the kingdom. It's just 2/3 have to be unalived on this side before they be born back into the kingdom. Right? I'm trying to be part of the first fruits, Yahweh Ratazah. verse 61. And therefore is my judgment now at hand. These things have I not showed unto all men, but unto thee. Right? Let's read that again. These things have I not showed unto all men, but unto thee. And again, as I was saying about Esdras, right? The scriptures is really going into all of the elect, man. Meaning the elect of Israel. Meaning the 144,000 and the 1/3. Right? It says, these things have I not showed unto all men, but unto thee, and a few like thee. Then answered I and said, behold, O Lord, now hast thou showed me the multitude of the wonders which thou wilt begin to do in the last times. Man. But at what time thou hast not showed me, right? Because nobody knows when Yahushua is going to show up. Only the Father knows, right? But we know about the signs in the last times, right? And the wonders, right? Because again, he shows that to his elect of Israel, man. 2/3 are not going to be able to receive the prophecies and understand the prophecies. They denounce it, man. You know, so they will end up taking part with the heathen. All right. Let's jump down some. Right. So like, all right, 2nd Esdras 9. And I'll just end it real quick on verse 22. And we'll close it. Let the multitude perish, then which was born in vain. And let my grape be kept, and my plant. For with great labor have I made it perfect. All right, so the Lord has, he has been working on us, been working on the elect of Israel, refining us, making us perfect, right? Within that 2/3 have been, are going to have to perish, as well as the rest of the heathens, right? Not all of the heathen, because there still will be some kingdoms around, but especially the top dog of all heathens, they got to be moved out the way. Right? After they do their 1,000 years of slavery, the Lord is going to eradicate them, man, off the face of the earth. But that's the problem with 2/3 of our people. They want to be just like them. So they have to perish, right? Because they got caught up in that lustful mind state of, wanting to be like Esau, or Adawam. Right? So let the multitude perish, which was born in vain, man. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to who we need to be edifying to. Remember to stay diligent in this truth and teach the truth, man. Follow the laws to the best of your ability. Don't end up like Alazar, don't bring money into it, man. Keep your filthy lucre, don't bring filthy lucre into the truth, man. Keep it separate, man. And don't even do it at all, really, But I'm not saying you can't make some money, you got to feed your family. I'm just saying, teach the truth, man. That's all. That's it. Try not to bring money into it. Follow the laws, follow and practice what you teach. But anyways, at the end of the day, man, again, Yahweh Ratazah, this lesson was edifying to who it need to be edifying to. Habatah to the elect. Shalom and DTA.